Have you ever felt small because someone said something cruel? Words can hurt deeply. They stick in our minds and make us doubt ourselves. But here's the truth. Their words don't define who you are. Today's story will show you how to protect your heart from harsh voices and remember your true value. At the end, I'll share a simple mirror practice that takes just 10 seconds each morning but can change how you see yourself forever. Let me tell you about a potter and a very special clay pot. In a quiet village, there lived a potter named Mara. She spent her days shaping clay into beautiful pots and bowls. Each piece she made was different. Some were tall and elegant. Others were short and sturdy. Mara loved them all equally because she knew the care she'd put into every single one. One morning, she finished a simple pot. It wasn't fancy or decorated with patterns. The pot had smooth sides and a wide opening. Mara smiled as she placed it on the shelf to dry. "You'll serve someone well," she whispered to it. That afternoon, a wealthy merchant entered her workshop. He looked around with sharp eyes, examining everything closely. His gaze landed on the simple pot. "How much for that one?" he asked, pointing. Mara named a fair price. The merchant laughed loudly. "That plain thing? It's worth half of what you're asking. Look at it. There's nothing special here. No decoration, no artistry. I've seen better pots made by children." His words hung in the air like smoke. Mara felt her chest tighten. She'd worked hard on that pot. Every curve was intentional. The thickness was just right, but doubt crept into her mind. Maybe he's correct, she thought. Maybe I'm not as skilled as I believed. The merchant left without buying anything. Mara stared at the pot for a long time. The joy she'd felt earlier had vanished completely. She considered throwing the pot away or hiding it in the back room where nobody would see it. Days passed slowly. Mara couldn't stop thinking about the merchant's words. She tried making fancier pots with elaborate designs, but her hands felt uncertain. The joy had gone from her work. Each new piece seemed wrong somehow. One evening, an old woman came to the workshop. She walked with a cane and had kind eyes that crinkled when she smiled. "I need a pot for water," she said gently. "Something reliable and strong." Mara showed her the newer decorated pieces. The old woman shook her head at each one. Then she spotted the simple pot on the shelf. "That one," she said, pointing. "That's exactly what I need." "Are you sure?" Mara asked hesitantly. "Someone told me it wasn't very good. He said it lacked artistry." The old woman picked up the pot carefully. She turned it in her hands, feeling the smooth surface. "This pot is perfect," she said firmly. "The walls are even. The weight is balanced. It'll hold water without leaking. These fancy ones might look pretty, but they're not built for daily use." "Who told you this wasn't good?" Mara explained about the merchant and his harsh comments. The old woman listened quietly. When Mara finished, the woman set the pot down gently on the counter between them. "Let me tell you something important," the old woman began. "I've lived many years. I've met all kinds of people. Some see value everywhere they look. Others see flaws in everything because that's what lives inside their own hearts." The merchant spoke from his emptiness, not from truth. She picked up the pot again. "This pot knows what it is." Clay shaped with care, fired in the kiln, ready to serve its purpose. The merchant's words didn't change the pot's nature. It remained exactly what you made it to be. His opinion was just noise passing through the air. Mara felt something shift inside her chest. "But his words hurt," she admitted softly. "Of course they did," the old woman replied. "Words can sting like thorns. But here's what you must remember. A thorn only causes pain when you press against it. If you pull away and leave it lying on the ground, it can't hurt you anymore. The merchant's words are thorns. You kept pressing them into your heart. It's time to set them down." She reached into her bag and pulled out a small mirror. It was round and fit perfectly in her palm, with a worn wooden frame. "My grandmother gave me this when I was young. She told me something I'll never forget. When someone speaks harshly about you, look into this. See yourself clearly. Their words show you their eyes, not your truth. This mirror reminds me who I am when other voices try to tell me differently." She placed the mirror in Mara's hands. "Your worth isn't determined by every voice that speaks. It's determined by what you're made of deep inside. This pot is valuable because you made it with skill and intention. That truth doesn't change whether the merchant sees it or not." The old woman bought the pot and left. Mara held the small mirror in her palm. She thought about all the pots she'd made over the years. Hundreds of them had gone to homes throughout the village. People used them daily. They held water, stored grain, and served food. Her work mattered. It always had. The merchant's words were just one voice among many. Why had she given his opinion so much power? She remembered other customers who'd thanked her warmly. She thought about the woman who'd returned twice to buy more pots because the first one served her family so well. Those voices had been real, too perhaps more real, because they came from actual experience, not quick judgment. Mara returned to her wheel the next morning. She centered a lump of clay and began to shape it. Her hands moved with confidence again. She made what felt right, simple, strong pieces that would serve people well. Some customers would appreciate them, others might not. That was all right. Their opinions didn't change the quality of her work. Weeks later, the merchant returned. He wanted to order several pots for his shop. "I've heard people talking about your work," he said. "Apparently your pots last longer than others. I misjudged you before." Mara nodded calmly. "Thank you for saying so," she replied, but inside she felt nothing. His approval didn't lift her up the way his criticism had pushed her down. She'd learned something crucial. Other people's words were just weather passing by, sometimes sunny, sometimes stormy, but the ground beneath her feet remained solid. That ground was built from her own knowledge of her skills, her effort, and her purpose. She kept the small mirror on her workbench. Whenever doubt whispered in her mind, she looked into it briefly. The mirror reminded her of a simple truth. Your worth isn't their words. It never was. It never will be. You're made of something deeper than anyone's quick opinion. So here's your practice. Every morning, when you look in the mirror, say one true thing about yourself that no one else's words can change. Maybe it's, "I try my best," or "I show up each day," or "I have a kind heart." Pick something real that you know is true regardless of what anyone says. Speak it out loud. Let your own voice be the one that matters most. Do this for 10 days and watch how your inner strength grows. If this story touched your heart, pass it along to someone who needs to hear it today. Share what you'll say to yourself tomorrow morning. Remember, you're valuable not because everyone sees it, but because it's true. Thanks for listening. I'll see you in the next story.